Oh, yeah.
Here we go!
Come on, motherfucker!
Oh yeah, you saw the title that I'm gonna react to a film theory video. Not surprising as imagined. But it's my job, so I made a playlist for the reactions I want to do, so and sometimes reaction rewatches, so it's my next video. And yes, there might be news sometimes in my way or whatever when the time comes, but whatever, so yeah. Anyway guys, so this is my very first film theory reaction, and I'm not really a big fan of film theory reaction, like the film theory things. Sure, I agree sometimes of it and sometimes not, but the reason why I'm reacting to a film theory reaction is because it's murder drones. And when it comes to murder drones, you already know what I mean, how I feel about the show. I may not be a big fan of it, but I still enjoyed sometimes the series of it. Sure, it's still good. I'm just talking about like where it confused me and everything, and creeps. So I have to watch this film theory with him because I know it's like almost 19 minutes long. So yeah, it's my job to do the reaction. So yeah, here comes the reaction of Lolly, who reacting to a 3-week Leo film theory. So yeah, there might be film theory reactions in the future, hopefully, or on my Twitch or anything, or Twitch or whatever, but let's see how it goes. Anyway, guys, before we get started, guys, make sure you guys go subscribe to Film Theory down below, y'all, and as always, let's get it. I'm not going to hold my camera so much, I'm going to put it over here, so yeah.
Gather up your railguns and crank up your angsty teenage energy, because today we're covering something brand new.
Sweet, I'm open to new things, I guess.
I'm talking about Murder Drones, one of the most popular animated series across all of YouTube. A series that has found a completely different, original way of communicating its story to us. Instead of
No
using
kidding,
found
right?
footage or hidden short
That's what it's
videos
always
to tell
been.
its story like most indie projects, Murder Drones is
That's
releasing,
where, like,
get this,
always
20-minute
been.
episodes, one at a time, in sequential order. What? No QR codes? No unlisted videos? Madness! Who knew that?
It's because that's how the unlisted videos are when they wait for a film to be public. To prevail.
Hello, Internet!
Camille.
Welcome to Film Theory, the show that locked itself behind 3 layers of doors to hide from the watchful eye of the algorithm drones. And ladies and gentlemen, today we're gonna absolute solve the world that is Murder Drones. Produced by Glitch Entertainment here on YouTube, Murder Drones tells the story of some teenage robots who have to save the universe from a rogue AI program. And for as much as I was just praising the series earlier for its straightforward content delivery strategy, it doesn't mean that the story is a purely linear experience. This show is filled with twists, flashbacks, and fourth wall breaks that keep you on the edge of your seat, guessing about what's gonna happen next. That's not an exaggeration.
There's
either.
been a
If you
full
look away
wall
for 2 seconds,
before
you stand there as a
this.
hidden detail
No
or
joke,
clue
huh?
buried in something as
We're
simple
kidding,
as
no
flashing
joke.
source code or a class presentation, which is where I come in today. Since this is a new series that I'd like to talk about moving forward,
We are never talking about this. Talking about what?
like I said, since this is a new show that I'd like to talk about again sometime in the future, I want to start by giving you all a simple, straightforward overview of the plot and key details that'll help you fill in the gaps that you might have missed during your first or even your 40th watch through. I'm also going to be doing it not in episode order, but rather timeline order. The order that all the major events actually happened in the universe, since that's the way that makes the most sense, as opposed to the twisty way it's ultimately presented in the show. And hey, if I make a mistake along the way, just remember,
I messed up, in the same way I'm about to fix it.
then by the end of the episode
No
today,
joke,
we'll actually
let's find out and
solve the rest
see.
of the first season. That's right, we are 6 episodes in right now. 6 episodes spread across
Yeah.
2 years, so why wait any
Still,
longer? I
we're
suspect
now
that I
waiting
know
for a
the right twist
7
reveals that are gonna be
episode
planned
because
for
you
the
already
final
know
2
how
episodes
people
of the
are with
season,
the
and
7.
potentially
What they
even
waiting
deeper
for
into the
episode
series.
7
If you don't
and
wanna be spoiled,
8.
well, I suppose you could always just forget everything that I say.
Consider it, repressed.
So let's rewind, or rather fast forward to the 3000s as I introduce you
Sir,
to
it's the
new series
plot.
that solve where the
You
Murder
mean the
Drones
Merge on
universe
plot.
is headed next. Get
It's
hyped,
the
guys.
merge on plot.
I still feel nothing.
Yeah, no kidding.
The The main story of murder drones takes place in the far
Seriously?
future, the year 3071 to be exact, based on these balloons that we see in the background of episode 3's prom scene. However, the real start to our story happened quite a number of years earlier. This was a time when humans were expanding beyond the confines of Earth to set up colonies on planets outside of our solar system, mining them for all their
Oh
resources.
yeah,
One of the biggest
Tessa.
players in this
God.
world was
She was
JC
me.
Jensen in space.
To help with both mining and domestic life, the company created a series of autonomous AI robots called worker drones, each with their own personality, thoughts, and feelings. Basically, these robots were indistinguishable from a normal living creature. Sadly, though, not everyone agreed, killing them for even perceived minor offenses.
Western Villa style? Were you programmed by beasts?
Ooh. Yeah.
Pause it right there. Putting aside the obvious issues around techno-ethics here, that type of behavior right there is a big no-no in the world of murder drones. You see, all worker drones came packaged with an established, proper set of step-by-step instructions for decommissioning old robots, and they're delivered to us on old VHS tapes. Truly a film theorist classic. Why should you bother following those instructions? Well,
Completely disassisted, simple drones may occasionally reboot from software death alone. More than undead federal fine hazards, its corrupted AI carry an increased risk of future error.
in short, if
Pretty
improperly
much sure we
disposed
get the
of,
point
dead
of that.
robots might wake up, literally turning into zombie drones. And not only do they wake up, they're changed in that process. According to the VHS, these drones
Well,
experience, quote,
yeah,
hazardous
I don't
mutations
think
to
so.
their coding,
I
which we
mean,
later learned to
well,
be
they
known
got
as the
turned into
Absolute
like
Solver program.
vampire
And that,
ones,
my
like what they
friends,
did
is
to
why I always
Yuzi
gotta
and
take
that.
time to read the terms
So
of service.
like,
We're told that there's only a
they kill the drones and
0.01%
never
chance
come
that the
back,
robots will
and
come
they're
back to
dead.
life.
That's
Of
it.
that
They don't come back to
0.01%,
life.
only 0.7%
That's all I can
have
say.
this dangerous mutation.
But that's all I can
Yielding
say.
a
They just die. They don't come back to
0.007%
life.
chance that the improperly disposed of drone will have this absolute solver mutation. But of course, this incredibly rare, will probably never happen thing, in fact, does happen. And it happens in the form of a worker drone named Sin, waking up alone, confused, and scared in a pile of robot corpses. She's eventually found by a human girl named Tessa Elliott, who's taken a liking to some of the broken worker drones and has been repurposing them to be her friends. Among the drones Tessa's taken in are the lovable goof N, the butt-kicking V, and the incredibly loyal J.
The whole letter is a lot to remember.
Hey, wait a minute.
Clearly
Oh
Sin
yeah,
is
back in the
different.
Merchant
Absolute
plot, I
Solver
thought
program
Jay
that
died and
activated inside of
everything,
her
but I
changed her.
forgot,
She speaks
yeah.
in a more
She
robotic,
was back to
Microsoft
life.
Sam-esque voice, literally stating her emotions
Ah,
as they happen,
since
and it generally
episode
seems that she's
3.
on the fritz, acting like a puppet on strings.
You expect?
Sheepish, nod, giggle.
Eh.
I am so naughty.
However, Tessa has a very different view on the drones than her parents. Parents who, it would seem, work as higher-ups at the J.C. Jensen Corporation. Well, that's never directly stated in the show. We can infer it from what's
What
said
if,
during
like,
this moment when Tessa gets
if
locked
Tessa's
up by her
parents
folks.
working at that
Sorry,
company,
boss.
baby,
Words spoken.
Additionally, the family possesses an
I don't
entire
know, I have to
staff
find
of
out episode
worker
7
drones at
away
their
about
mansion
it.
on Earth, treating them more like slaves and pests.
Tessa James Elliott. We will not entertain your dumpster pits. Yes, Mother.
Sin, infected by the hazardous mutation that is the Absolute Solver program, sees this and does not like it, eventually deciding that it would be much better if these humans just weren't around anymore. And so when the Elliots throw a big dinner party at their mansion, Sin executes her plan, transforming into some eldritch abomination and killing everyone at the party except for Tessa, the only human who decided to treat this robot with respect. And Sin didn't just stop at the party, she killed everyone on the planet by collapsing the core of Earth.
We know it mutates and damaged AI. It took Sin as a host, then it took everything.
And if you thought killing off a planet's worth of creatures would be enough, think again. Remember, at this point in history, humans have expanded far beyond just
No
one
joke,
planet,
right?
meaning Sin needed to find ways of infiltrating these exoplanets if she truly wanted to wipe humanity from existence. Thankfully for her, humans, ever the curious bunch, did most of the heavy lifting for her. After seeing what happened to Earth, the humans brought Sin's programming into their various systems to study it, and that was a big mistake. The Absolute Solver program does the exact same thing again on Copper 9, one of these human-colonized exoplanets, and our main setting for the series. And again, all human life gets extinguished. The newly liberated worker drones now have no more commands that they need to follow. They are free to live their lives as they wish. And yet, this worker bot piece doesn't last for very long. At some point in history, a new breed of drones, the disassembly drones, or murder drones, arrive on the scene with a directive to eliminate
It's
all
murder
the workers.
drones.
This forces
Someone
the
killed
everyday
the
bots
murder
to
drone
live behind a
people.
series of
Blood
protected
oil.
walls, Attack on Titan style. And though the worker and murder drones are told that this comes straight from the J.C. Jensen Corporation, we learn in episode 6 that that actually isn't the case. Instead, the murder drone massacres that are happening across various planets are being orchestrated by Sin for unknown reasons.
Sin disappeared on Earth.
Boss ran
We
away.
mutually disengaged. Her last known act was sicking you lot on the human exoplanets.
Why? That's what we're trying to figure out, bozo.
But that's weird, right? Sin initially retaliated against humans because
Everything
they're
is weird from the
mistreated
show. What do you
worker drones.
expect?
Now she's
Everything I
sending
watch in the
murder
new
bots
episodes
to
just
massacre the
confuse a
very
lot of
bots that she
people. I
initially
mean,
worked to free.
don't care what
Why?
people
Well, I
think, but
suspect
still,
it's
it's my personal
I
opinion.
suspect it's a numbers game. If the odds of the absolute solver
No,
mutation
shoot, it's not
activating
no
in a dead
frickin'
drone is 7
game.
in 100,000, you're gonna need to pile up a whole lot of dead drones in order to get a couple of absolute solvers out of the group. Sin wants to kill more and more worker drones, not because she's cruel, but because she wants to build her army. What's more, the absolute solver
who
mutation
knows?
seems to get
I don't
handed down
know.
between generations of robot families, which yes, is a real thing in this universe. So Sin
I mean,
may
you know
just
about
be looking
Yuji's
to speed
model?
up natural
You know
selection of
that?
this super trait by
You
weeding
know
out
that,
all
guys?
the worker drones who don't
You know that?
possess it. This would basically be the concept of robotic eugenics. Get ready to clip this next section out for your Matt Pat out of context compilations, my friends. But you can't talk about murder drones without talking about World War II. During
What?
World War II, the Nazis firmly believed in eugenics, eliminating quote-unquote undesirable genetic
For
elements
real.
from the German population so that the
I
ideal
don't know why
Aryan
it's so weird
human
for
could
World War
dominate.
II.
In order to create a
I
race
don't
of
get it.
genetically pure,
But I guess that's
physically fit
probably what
human
it
beings,
is. I
they used
guess
tactics like forced
that's what the
sterilization,
point is.
selective
I
breeding
mean,
to
you
ensure
get the
the
point of that.
quote-unquote
That's
positive
what
genes were the more
that's what the
prevalent and
point.
circulated throughout the gene
It's the
pool.
point.
By eliminating all the normal worker drones,
What
it
do you
enables
expect?
the absolute solver
It-
code
it's
to
the
dominate
point.
and procreate, for lack of a better term. Beyond that, though,
Whatever.
Sin's motives remain unclear. Is it to build up enough of an army to fight against the last strongholds of humanity? Is it because she's lonely and she wants more like her? Is it because Absolute Solver has actually been in control of her this entire time? Currently, it's unclear, and we're just gonna need more time to see what happens. Anyway, it's finally time that we cut to the actual events of the show. Yeah, it is here, finally, where we cut back to the story of our characters as depicted in episode 1. Uzi, our main protagonist, is one of the drones unknowingly affected with the Absolute Solver, having inherited it
Oh,
from
yeah,
her mother,
trust me,
Nori.
since
Sadly,
episode
Nori was
4.
killed by the murder drones soon after
Yeah,
Uzi's
boy.
birth. And now a teenager, Uzi is full of rebellious teen spirit, annoyed that the workers have hidden away from the murder drones rather than fighting them head on. So armed with a homemade railgun, she ventures out of the safety of the doors and meets N, V, and J, Tessa's drone army that she rescued so many years ago. And now, the murder drone squad tasked with slaughtering the workers of Copper 9. Except there's one problem with this. By the end of the episode, Uzi's Absolute Solver has activated.
Just can't wait to murder all humans. Classic robot stuff. I hope they're sitting pretty there on Earth, because we're coming.
As we're getting
No.
this cliffhanger ending, blink and you'll miss an important line of code flashing on Uzi's eye visor. It says Absolute Solver string equals false before quickly switching over to true.
For
Yep, our main
real.
protagonist
I
now
didn't
has
know about
herself
that.
a penchant for human genocide, which again feels weird since Uzi didn't die here. How could the Absolute Solver program have activated inside of her if she needs to have been a zombie bot for it to have activated? Well, remember the code for these drones functions a lot like DNA, meaning that their programming can be handed down between generations. It seems that Nori, the mother of Uzi, passed it down to her daughter in the same way that human parents pass down hair color or some other disease or trait. And when passed down this way, Absolute Solver doesn't require death to activate. So Uzi teams up with the disassembly drones to solve the mystery of what's actually going on. Looking for clues around Copper 9 eventually leads the gang to a place called Cabin Fever Labs, an old J.C. Jensen facility. This place is filled with a lot of interesting details. For one, the show makes it canon that despite killing all humans on Earth, the doggos are in fact alive.
that episode was
safe,
kinda
and immortal.
creeps.
See, sometimes a plot hole can be a great
Trust
thing.
me.
Also at this place, we get ourselves a tiny hint about a new character. As Uzi's exploring the Cabin Fever Labs, she picks up some paperwork that talks about decommissioning a particular worker drone named S010011X01. We don't get an official name for the drone, but based on the way that this series turns serial numbers and names, the fans have dubbed this character S. You could argue that this is just a random sheet of paper, but I don't think so. This clue about an S drone happens in the same episode where we learn about the insane things that Uzi's mom used to say before she went full Absolute Solver.
She was always all, build doors against the coming sky demons. The singularity awakens. Look at this cool guess I can draw.
Sky Demons, Singularity, Cool S. More S things. I believe this S character will be making their appearance sometime in the 7th episode of the series, as a good robot built by Tessa to make some big reveal about Uzi's mom's death. You see, in this series, every drone has two
Find out and
numbers that
see,
will
I guess.
identify them. One is their SN, or serial number, a string of letters and numbers unique to each character. The second number is the PN, presumably the
I hope
code
that
number.
will be the
This string
point
indicates what model
if we
of
talk
drone
about
they are.
Uzi's
Drones
mom
that are
next
the same kind have the
episode.
same PNs. We see that this is true
I don't
of
know.
N
We have
and
to
J,
find out and
and presumably
see.
V, who all have themselves the same PN, Sin MYKX. Notice that CYN or Sin hidden right there. All the murder drones are part of the same Sin model group and have been controlled by Sin at some point throughout the series. However, this S has itself a completely new PN that we haven't seen before, TSA MMAC. Now, the TSA there can't be a
something new like
coincidence when
that.
we have ourselves a human named Tessa running around who loves repairing robots and is trying to stop Sin's quest of absolute domination. In addition, I believe we'll discover that S was a friend or colleague of Uzi's mother, Nori. How can I be sure? Well, in episode 3, we're shown Nori's security badge, which shows that she used to work at Cabin Fever Labs. The same is true for Eva, another carrier of the Absolute Solver corruption. And wouldn't you know it, but Cabin Fever Labs is the same place that Uzi found the document about S. Furthermore, take a closer look at the document. We see black, creepy drawings written all over it. These drawings bear a striking resemblance to the ones that were drawn by Uzi's mother. So I think at this point it's far more likely that whoever this S character is will be an old ally of Nori and Eva and will be willing to lend a hand to Uzi and company as they try to defeat the Absolute Solver corruption. Moving back into the main story though for a minute, after exploring around Cabin Fever Labs, Uzi starts to act strange and we begin to see the full extent of
Yeah,
her
that's
Solver
how I
powers. She
feel about,
transforms
like,
into some kind of monster
it
and attacks
really
all the other
confused
drones.
me.
After being
That's
taken
the
down by
part
Uzi returns
that
to normal,
confused
solidifying
me
them
when
as
I
the
watched
weakest
episode
couple
4.
ever. Eventually, the team
Because
finds
not
Eva
only by the
robot
episode was
and
alright,
Ricky
I mean,
that
it's
unlocks the
just
inner
how
core of
Uzi got turned to
Cabin Fever Labs. They
this.
then run into Tessa Elliott.
That was confusing me so much. I'm sorry. I mean,
Tessa, now an adult, has
it's
made it her
just
mission to
how I
stop
am.
Sin
I'm
and
sorry.
any other Absolute Solver drones from taking over the universe. In the end of the most recent episode, we see Uzi, N, and Tessa finding their way to the elevator that leads down into the innermost lab,
yawning
leaving them
because
and us, the audience, curious about what they'll discover down there. And honestly, that's where the series stands at the end of episode 6. The creators of the show have said that the first season will consist of 8 episodes. We're really close to the end, and there's still a lot of mysteries that have yet to be solved. Is Uzi gonna fully transform into Sin? Is this mysterious S character gonna make an appearance? Will Tessa be forced to kill Uzi to save the world? Well, loyal theorists, it turns out you don't have to wait for the next 4 to 6 months for the final episodes to come out. I suspect that I already know
4 to
everything that's gonna
6
happen there,
months.
beat for beat, in the final 2 episodes. In fact, I suspect
that
we'll
could be
know
until
where the show is headed
2024,
since the
isn't
very
it?
first scene
I pretty
of the
much
very
sure.
first episode. Right after the opening exposition of episode 1, the show reveals everything to us. Right when we're first introduced to Uzi, she's given a PowerPoint presentation to her class about the dangers of sitting around waiting for the murder drones to find a way past the doors.
Hide under the ice behind 3 stupid doors? It's like we're waiting for an inciting incident.
As she's talking, this diagram appears behind her. This image is almost a complete rip of the infamous hero's journey. If you're not familiar with that, the hero's journey is a storytelling template that many of the stories throughout history have followed. From ancient epics like Gilgamesh
No
and
kidding,
Odyssey to
right?
modern classics like Harry Potter and Star Wars, if you're writing yourself a fantastical story,
Hey, you
then
forgot the
hero's
Lion
journey
King
is
too.
breaking
I saw it
down
up
the
down, but you
format
forgot
of
to talk
your
say about the
narrative.
Lion
Now, on my
King.
first viewing, I saw this reference as
Because
just
Lion
that
King's the
reference.
best.
Murder Drones loves meta humor and fourth wall break, so I just chalked this up to another inside joke. However, when I went back to the series again in preparation for this theory, I realized that everything that's happened in the first 6 episodes has lined up exactly with this little visual gag, beat for beat. We start off with the call to action that draws the hero into adventure. Uzi wants to leave the safety of the doors and deal with the murder drones directly. Then she gets saved by an unlikely aide, N. Right after this, Uzi teams up with Helper, Doll, and a mentor who's been around the block, Tessa. Together, this crew fights back against a bunch of challenges, and Uzi becomes more and more tempted to use the Absolute Solver abilities, culminating with her being fully possessed by Sin and N having to cut off her hand in episode 6. And mind you, this diagram isn't just for any generic hero's journey. It is one that is specifically built for Uzi. Notice all the references to angst moments built into this wheel. And if there is one emotion that definitely connects back to Uzi, it is angst.
An angsty teen fad bite me, and I made you rebel like an angsty teen, which got you killed.
So if I'm right, that then leaves us right here on the chart, at the bottom, ready for another helper and a big revelation that's tied to 3 specific things: rebirth, abyss, and death. So remind me again where these characters are exploring Cabin Fever Labs, a giant underground facility that keeps going down.
Final
to
episode
the center
7.
point, an abyss, if you will. And who have we been talking about this entire time? S, a potential new helper associated with Uzi's dead mom, probably has more information than anyone about what happened to her. According to the hero's hero's journey, at this point Uzi, our hero, will be given some sort of a revelation. S is going to reveal some saucy details, something that, according to our template, will lead Uzi to a full angst overload. If what we've seen previously are just tiny overloads, what could this possibly
that
look like? What
vampire
could be
Uzi,
so
no.
devastating for Uzi to hear that it'll send her into a presumed meltdown? Well, I suspect that S is going to reveal that N was the murder drone who killed Uzi's mom. Yeah, I'm just as shocked as you are, but N is the most likely killer. At this point in the series, we don't actually know.
We don't know about that. We have to find out and see.
Some murder drone that Nori's father ultimately had to put her down. On Copper 9, there's only 3 murder drones that we know of: V, J, and of course N. Nothing would make for a more catastrophic revelation than finding out your new boyfriend is the one that killed your mom. This devastating news will be too much for Uzi to handle, and she'll fully succumb to her absolute solver powers, going full angst overload. Then, after being saved once again by N and the crew, Uzi will atone for her sins and make her mission for Season 2 clear. Defeat Sin, stop the absolute solver, and end the cycle of violence that prevents humans and drones from living the peaceful lives they want. So, there you have it, my friends. Murder drones. The plot so far, as well as a solid hypothesis or two on where it might be headed in the final episodes of the season. How am I so sure about this? I guess you could say it's a mixture of Easter eggs, narrative logic, and a whole lot of watching other forms of media. You know, stuff like movies, TV shows, and of course, anime.
Oh, and they said pirating all that anime was useless.
But hey,
Yeah, no shit. I already know that joke.
Theory and cut.
Yeah, we're done. Okay, so we already get it about what will happen on episode 7 and 8. So like, we're going to have to find out what's going to happen on episode 7. So like, we're going to still have to wait what happens next, but we will find out and see in the way it comes. So whatever you do, guys, we just have to wait and see. And some of them okay of, and some a little bit mad, but I'll go with it, I guess. So yeah. But anyway, so let's see how it goes for episode 7, probably very soon this month or whatever, so, November. But anyway, guys, make sure you guys go subscribe to Film Theory down below, guys. Yes, I might react to Film Theory sometimes, but not all the time, baby, sometimes. But I found out and see. Anyway, guys, have a good rest of your day, guys. Have a good rest of your weekend. I gotta go back on school on Monday, man. Having that long fall break, man. And I've been with my nana's for the past week. Like, this is my nana's house, if you guys have been seeing it. That was my nana's house. So, I've been with my nana the whole entire weekend. Well, actually, the whole week. Well, that's all I can say. Have a good rest of your day, guys. I'll see you all tomorrow after school on Monday. And as always, guys, I see you all tomorrow. See you guys later. We'll find out and see for episode 7 to 8. As always, y'all, deuces.